stand up, please. What we're all going to do on a count of three is we're going to clap our hands together one time and hold them there. Might be a little tight, so you don't have to go all the way out. Put your arms out. On the count of three, we're going to clap our hands together one time and hold them there. Always an overachiever. Always an overachiever. All right, ready? 1, 2, 3. Now I want you to look at your thumbs. If your right thumb is over your left thumb, raise your hand. Look around the room. Those are all the thinkers. If your left thumb is over your right thumb, raise your hand. Look around the room. Those are all the sexy people. If both your thumbs are straight up next to each other, raise your hand. Look around the room. Those are all the people that think they're sexy. Go ahead and have a seat.
Thank you.
Can everybody hear me in the back? Can I use a microphone? Okay, good. I'll lead from the front. When you lead from the front, people will follow you. I asked a number of you why you were here today. One guy said he was just here to fill out a sheet because he had to go to so many workshops. But the majority of you said you're here to learn about leadership. So I'd like to share a story with you about leadership. That's me. When I was in high school, I was skinny, I was small, I was scared, I was shy, I was quiet, I was pretty much a loner. When I graduated from high school, I weighed 125 pounds. That's about this high. You might find it hard to believe, but I decided to join the Marines. I went to the Marines right out of high school. I went through boot camp, and I ended up being a door gunner and a crew chief on helicopters. I was this guy right here behind a 50 caliber machine gun. In my squadron was a bunch of men. One of them was a guy named Bill Nurdin. Bill Nurdin was a pilot, and I was a crew chief. In a helicopter, these guys up here were the pilots, the crew chief was in the back. We worked as a team. Bill Nurdin was one of the best leaders I've ever known. I knew him for a long time. We flew hundreds of hours together, all kinds of missions. He was quick with a smile. He had a slender but muscular figure. He had a strong jaw. He had these blue-gray eyes that always had a sparkle in them. And he was one of those people that didn't speak very often. But when he spoke, people listened. And even when he had something to tell you that was disciplinary or to help you, even then, people listened. And he did it with style. And so, one day, I find myself in a briefing room. Whenever we went on a mission, we'd always go in a briefing room because we all had to figure out what the plan was going to be for that day. So we're in the briefing room, and I'm looking at Bill Nurdin, and I had been assigned to his helicopter one more time. And oddly enough, that day, I thought to myself, you know, if we were ever in a bad spot, or something bad was going to happen, I want this guy at the controls of the helicopter. He was the epitome of cool and calm under all situations. I never saw him lose his composure. And he always had that mischievous sparkle in his eyes. So on this particular day, there were going to be 4 helicopters. We were going to be the 4th helicopter of the 4 helicopters. We were going to move grunts. Grunts are infantry. We were going to pick them up to one spot and move them to another spot. We're going to do this all day long. It's called troop insertion. So we're about halfway through the day, and we're going into an LZ. An LZ is a landing zone. So we're the 4th helicopter. This is a brand new landing zone for us at this point in the day. We've gone into other landing zones, LZs, but this is a brand new one. So the first 2 helicopters land, and they radioed back to us that the LZ is too small to fit 4 helicopters. We had to wave off, which means we had to fly around. From the time we got that radio call to wave off, within less than 10 seconds, we lost an engine. These types of helicopters have a picnic on both sides. It's a dual engine helicopter. We had single engine flyaway capability, but on this particular day, we were already low and slow. We had a heavy load because we had all these troops on board, and it was hot, which means we didn't have as much lift. We lost an engine. There's a really distinct sound when an engine winds down. I hear it, so does Bill Nerman. As soon as we both hear it, I start telling everybody in the back all the emergency procedures, what we're going to do because we're going to crash. Instantly, I hear Bill Nerman in his calm, normal voice, Mayday, Mayday, we're going down. And we're going down. Airplanes have wings. If they lose all their power, they still have a thing called a glide slope. They can come down faster as the wind rush across their wings, and that would give them lift. Helicopters don't have that luxury. We're like a Coke machine pushed off the back of a delivery truck. We're like a rocket coming out of the sky. The only thing a helicopter has is a thing called auto rotation. With auto rotation, there's a lever next to the pilot seat. He pulls up on this lever called the collector. That gives the main rotor pitch. The main rotor gets pitch, it bites, and it tries to lift. Even though it has no power, it's still trying to lift. That's all you have at what we call the bottom before impact. Bill Nerman, while he stayed calm, found the only place we could land. We were amongst a bunch of trees, and we had to find someplace level and uncluttered with rocks and trees to land. It was our only chance of survival. He had found that spot. By the time, part of my responsibility was to help him. It's tough for him to see below and back here where he can't see. By the time I had gotten all the passengers in the back ready, he had already found where we were going to go down. At this point, I look up and I can see the main rotor going so slow that I can count the revolutions. We hit so hard, you'll see that there's skids on this. There's not wheels. And this cross tube is arched. We hit so hard the first time that we bounced 25 feet higher than the ceiling. We bounced up in the air, we rolled to the left, and we crashed the second time. This is what it looked like. Everybody, by the grace of God, came out of this and lived. Normally, you do not survive a helicopter crash. I can tell you I would not be here today if it was not for Bill Nerman. Bill Nerman and I were the last two to be released from the hospital. Actually, he was the last one. I was released a couple days before he was. I went in to his room after they released me, and I wanted to tell him how much I appreciated him and how grateful I was, because if it had been anybody else in the controls that day, I would have beaten him. And some of you, Jill can tell you this from yesterday, I am never at a loss for words. But when I was in his room, I was at a loss for words. And I looked into those blue-gray eyes, and that sparkle was still there. And when we locked eyes, I didn't need to say anything. He knew. And I could see by the way he was looking back at me, that he understood what I was feeling. After I left the hospital that day, I made myself a promise that I was going to be a leader like Bill Nerman. Fast forward a couple years, and I'm in the Philippines. I'm still in the Marines, and I'm out one day pre-flighting my helicopter. You have to inspect it before you go fly it to make sure it's still safe to fly. Next to where I was pre-flighting my helicopter, so I'm at the very end. Imagine that back wall is the hangar where we kept all our gear and our guys were. And I'm at the very end of our flight line, and I am out here inspecting my helicopter. Next to us, there's a CH-53, the largest helicopter the Marine Corps has. You can get an idea of how big it is based on this guy here. And they were doing these things called external loads. See all the rotors this thing has, the rotor blades? It it has a thing called rotor wash. That's why there's all this dust. When they pull power to lift, that blade pitches and forces all this air down. When all this air goes down, you don't want to be in the area. So now they're doing this next to me. Now most of you in this room can't see that there's two double doors. There were men from my squadron sitting back in front of our hangar. And they were blocked by another hangar just like this wall. And so they could see the helicopter up in the air, it was above this building. But they couldn't see what I could see. I could see this guy, he's called a plane captain. And I could see the other guy that would run out here and you hook these straps to whatever the external load is. And then this guy gives him a thumbs up because again, these guys can't see anything that goes on underneath this helicopter. That's why the crew chief was so critical. As all this is going on, there's a young junior Marine. And out here to the side, somebody had stacked blade boxes. Blade boxes are the things that hold these rotor blades. They're really long, they're about 30 feet long, and it takes a forklift to lift them, with or without a rotor blade in them. This young junior Marine, trying to get out of this rotor wash, runs behind these boxes and ducks down. When he does this, the 53, this is called a Sea Stallion, the 53 is in a hover, so it's not pulling power to lift, it's just hovering. So the rotor wash isn't that bad, and he thinks he's safe. Above the roar, there is a loud, loud noise when a helicopter, the jet engines are running. You've all been on an airplane. Above the roar, I see something move in my peripheral vision. And I look over in time to see these blade boxes falling down on this junior Marine. Now, the guys back there can't hear me. And instinctively, all I do is I turn and run towards them. Now, I am running through this rotor wash. I have a 40-pound survival vest on. Without it, I'd have been blown over and blown across the flight line. As I'm running through that rotor wash, I am waving and signaling to this guy to have them pull off and get out. Unbeknownst to me, I run to him. Now, I can't lift any of these blade boxes. I had no idea what I was going to do. It was like a dog chasing a car. But unbeknownst to me, when I got there, all the guys that were back there were right behind me. All of them, to a man. We organized ourselves and lifted the blade boxes off of him. We pulled him out from underneath him. He was bleeding badly from his head and from his arm. His leg was broken and his right arm was literally out of the socket. He was messed up. The good news is we saved his life. I realized after it all calmed down, and I was walking back to the helicopter I was going to get back on and fly that day, I realized that I had become a leader like Bill Nerman because I couldn't communicate to them. They didn't know where I was going. They didn't know what was going on over there, but they knew by the way I was running that I was going to need help. And they followed. If you want to be that kind of leader, I'm going to share with you 3 things today that you can do on a regular basis, and people will follow. They're going to be authentic, let go of the outcome, and last but not least, do the hard work. How to be authentic. Be open. Be open to new ideas. Be open to new thoughts. Be open to new philosophies, new cultures, new people. Be open to be different. I need a volunteer. Come on. What's your name? What is it? John? Give him a big hand, right of applause. What's that say? No, it says Louis Sharp, professional speaker, trainer, and coach. What's that say?
Louis Sharp.
No, it doesn't. It doesn't say anything. Are we both looking at the same thing? Yes, we're both looking at exactly the same thing. But our perspective, give me some of that, brother. Our perspective is 180 degrees off. If you're going to be an open leader, you've got to move. I can't expect John, right? I can't expect John to move. I've got to be the leader. I've got to be open to a different perspective. I've got to be the one to come over here and stand next to my brother and say, oh, I see what you mean. Now that I see your perspective, maybe we turn it this way so we both see the same thing. Or maybe we turn it this way. Or maybe we just try something completely new. Give him a big hand. Thank you.